Retirement can be the best part of your life, but avoiding simple mistakes is job one when it comes to making your retirement a work of art instead of something less than ordinary. All right, let's get into the 7 red flags and how to clear them from your future. Number 1, the most obvious one, so I'll get it out of the way first, you haven't hit your savings goals. When we approach retirement, at what point do you make the decision enough is enough? Well, many people, maybe even most people, have a number in mind, at least if you're watching this video, but sometimes life gets in the way and you're dealt limits and you want to just make lemonade out of it and quit right then and there. We all experience it. Something unjust happens at work and we want to exit stage left. Or worse yet, it's not your decision, someone else makes it for you, and it seems like a good time not to try anymore. And in most cases, no matter what the situation, you're just tired and you want it all to end. In other words, you're human. It's perfectly normal. Let me begin by acknowledging and respecting you for how far you've come. Believe it or not, there are people right now who really appreciate everything that you've done. They may not say it, but they appreciate it, and you have made an impact on their lives. This includes family and friends who may even say bad things. By the way, when that happens, they rarely mean it. They are often scared and they're trying to give tough love and maybe deliver the message wrong. At least that's been my experience. The important point to remember, though, is that when time passes, your ability to get back into the workforce and continue to earn diminishes, particularly as you reach retirement age. By the way, if you've already left the workforce, the best time to get back in the workforce is sooner rather than later. This is because your contacts, your skills, and your reputation will fade at some point in the future. This doesn't mean that you can't wait and re-enter the workforce in the future, but in most cases, the earlier the better. Point 2, know where your cash flow is coming from. I can't tell you how many people I talk to, I correspond with, I respond to in the messages below, who tell me that they know their net worth, but then when you dig deep into it, they can't tell you how they're going to transform their net worth into daily or monthly cash flow. This almost always, by the way, happens with people who have a high net worth and that net worth is tied up in their home. Don't get me wrong, home ownership is the number one way to build net worth. Don't let anybody tell you anything different. It's a forced savings plan. And frankly, some people, that is their entire net worth because they haven't taken the time or they don't have the ability to set aside additional funds. But having a high net worth house is better than having nothing. It's forced savings that might not otherwise happen. You either pay yourself or you pay your landlord, and if you're a renter, you're paying your landlord. Many people, I would even say the majority of people, don't actively put money in stocks and bonds. 401k, potentially, IRA, potentially, but not actively taking extra cash and putting it into the market. The point to all of this is that in retirement, you need to know more than what your net worth is. You need to know where your cash flow is coming from. We'll talk more about this later in this video. Point 3, know how much you're going to pay in taxes. A lot of people forget that they have to pay taxes on the withdrawal from their 401k or their IRA, if it's a traditional 401k or IRA. In both cases, you pay ordinary income tax on the withdrawals. The same is true in most cases for pensions, by the way. The importance of this can't be overstated. Federal and state income taxes will cut your payment unless you have a very low level of income in retirement. The truth about taxes in retirement, however, is that in retirement you have better control over your taxes than at any other point in your life, most of the time. This is because you, not your company, determines how much you withdraw from your taxable accounts. So spend some time, talk to your accountant or your financial planner, and sequence your withdrawals to optimize your tax outcome. Next, know that inflation is real and know how it will affect your lifestyle when you retire. Last week, the Consumer Price Index was released for the month of January, and it came in higher than expected. This had so many knock-on effects, from rising interest rates to categories that are super important. The one that was the most affected, or one of the ones that was most affected, was the food category. The overall food category was up 0.4%, 4.8% annualized. Now, 5% effectively, a 5% increase in food doesn't seem like a lot. at one point in time, but if you do that every single year, it becomes a big number very, very quickly. In 10 years, you'd be paying 50% more for your food than you would be today. For someone living on a fixed income, that's a big increase. Now, unlike some other categories, you can't fix inflation. However, I do have a great video called How to Inflation-Proof Your Retirement, and I will put a link at the end of this video to that video. Next, get out of debt. Debt is to retirement what smoking is to exercise. Yes, you can do it, but why would you if you can avoid it? The fact is debt, or more specifically the interest costs associated with debt, are quite toxic to a retirement. You often pay 2x, 3x, even 5x more than the purchase price of the item or something larger like a home by being in debt. Imagine if every time you purchased a good or a service, you had to pay 2 or 3 times more than everybody else. This is what happens when you finance that purchase on your credit card and you leave the balance outstanding for long periods of time. When this happens, your lifestyle goes down dramatically. Now, the fact is most people don't purchase everything with debt and they don't leave their credit card balance outstanding. This is particularly true the closer you get to retirement. If you do have a lot of credit card debt, this is probably the single most important debt type that you need to get rid of ASAP. But even if you had a mortgage, if you took out a mortgage today and you took out a 30-year mortgage, at the end of 30 years, you would pay twice the value of the home in today's dollars. So it's a real concern. Next, sitting around is your post-retirement social plan. This is so prevalent that I actually feel like I should put out a video on this, but that is a strategy with a lot of people. Last week, for example, I put out a video which showed you how to get back 5 hours a day in wasted time in retirement. Now, most of the comments were quite favorable. People were complimenting me, thanking me for helping them, but a few actually came back and said that the video is useless and they have nothing but time in retirement, so therefore they need to waste as much of it as possible. At the time, I thought 2 things. First, the title gives this away. How to Save 5+ hours a day in retirement is a video about how to save time in retirement. And the second is that people confuse not having the energy of a 20-year-old with only being able to sit around in retirement. They aren't the same thing. There is a world of things to do that don't require you to utilize all of the watts in the generator. Think of something as simple as going to the movies, taking a walk in the park, having friends over for dinner. The list goes on, but you get the point. Next, not having a written budget. Not having a written budget in retirement is akin to driving across the country without a map or a GPS. You can eventually get there if you follow the sun, I suppose, but why would you do that? The fact is, a budget clarifies. It not only shows you where you're spending your money, but it shows you how to refocus your money onto the things that you love and away from the things that are just wasters of your cash flow. And frankly, at the single purchase level, which is $20 and under, we humans don't really have the ability to distinguish between what's really a great $20 purchase and what's a so-so $20 purchase if you look at any single purchase in isolation. But at the end of the month, when you add up all of those tiny little purchases, they become a big number for a lot of people. And that's what blows up a budget 9 times out of 10. A $20 book from the Book of the Month Club might go unread, whereas a $20 ticket to the Botanical Gardens for the flower lover might be the best thing that they can do for that particular week. For those that have an interest, I have a free Excel budget download. You can find that download at holyschmidt.com/budget. It's simple and it's powerful and it's absolutely free. If you like this video, check out that video, 6 big purchases that retirees almost always regret. Also, don't forget to click subscribe and turn on notifications so that you get alerted the next time I post a video. I post once or twice a week. This is Jeff Schmidt. Thanks for watching.
Holy Schmidt!